Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, where we offer first impressions of new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons. We cover a selection of titles from Dungeon Masters Guild and DriveThruRPG each week. The titles are presented in alphabetical order by site, and all of them are linked in the video description. Purchasing the books using those links helps the channel, but you can also support us by purchasing one of our best-selling books. Our newest release, Swarms of the Multiverse, offers over 70 brand new creatures, including their associated swarms. Plus, you get instructions on how to make your own balanced swarms, and lots of bonus materials such as 4 new demiplanes. We've got lineages suitable for any setting, as well as optional lineage rules in our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. With our Potions Unlocked book, we have over 100 pages of material to take your potions to the next level in your game. Our Feywild Companion offers 150 pages of Feywild fun for players and DMs. Also, our book, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, contains over 50 pages of dragon-themed player options, including a subclass for each class and much more. Please support the channel by purchasing one of our books using the links in the video description. Before we talk about the new releases, let's talk about our exclusive Splinterverse discount for the week. It is on Wondrous Monsters, exciting themed templates that add new life to familiar creatures. It's 40% off for the first 50 customers that use the link, and some customers have already used it because we do release these every Monday on all of our social media feeds. So you want to make sure you grab it as quick as possible so that you can make sure you're one of the 50 to take advantage of the special offer. It's from Rob Waller and Spirit of Envy. Normally $4.99, but it's going to be 40% off with our special discount. It's 47 pages. You get 10 monster themes, each containing 3 templates and a lair. You get 20 monster templates that are non-legendary, and then 10 legendary ones, as well as 10 lairs with a full suite of lair actions, and then 30 full monster stat blocks. So you're getting a ton of stuff for less than $4.99. It's going to be 40% off. So that's a huge savings to get so much to mix up your monsters. So you can see they go into aberrant creatures, arboreal creatures, avian creatures. So they have these different themes, right? And then they have the templates, the lairs, and the example creatures. So you're getting all of it together, which is really cool to help you see how it all works. So they go into how to apply the templates. So the templates kind of tell you, okay, if you're going to take this creature as your starting point and apply the template, then you would change the size and type this way, the armor class this way, etc. So it's just really easy to especially if you have a digital version of your monster or a printout, you can just cross off things, add things, and then it goes into some of the templates here. So you've got the warped creature. So you would add 1 to the armor class, 15 to the hit points. You'd add these immunities. You'd add this +1 to the challenge rating, and then you'd add regeneration and these other actions. So that makes, you could take like a brown bear and make it a warped brown bear, right? And so it becomes an aberration instead of a beast, and it's got all these different changes to it. And so, your players might think, oh, we're just dealing with a bear, but maybe this bear has been hanging out near this strange portal, or some weird thing's been going on, or maybe it got mutated, and so it's a mutated brown bear, right? So that's kind of how you do it. Pseudo-natural creature, legendary. So this is how to take a creature and make it legendary with the templates. I've always thought templates were really, really fun and underused in 5th edition, so it's cool to have a book bring some of them back. So here's a whole aberrant lair. It says, often aberrant creatures will make their lairs in alien environments that feel somehow wrong to regular creatures entering them. Strange, wordless chatter invades the mind, and the very laws of physics seem to bend and warp in nauseating displays. And then you get these lair actions like disturbing presence, non-Euclidean geometry, unnatural wounds, and that's what you would add as lair actions for your aberrant brown bear or whatever creature. You're probably not an aberrant brown bear unless you're going to make it pseudo-natural to where it's legendary, would have a lair. But you get the picture. Whatever creature you're applying the templates to, you can then take the lair and make it apply to that creature as well. Then you've got the Warped Hydra, which is an example creature. It's a huge aberration, a mutated giant crocodile, and pseudo-natural Etten. So you're getting all kinds of examples of those creatures. So, for example, the Warped Hydra, it gets that regeneration. So that's really cool. And it also has this multiple heads, so it's going to have multiple things to keep it going. And you're going to have to really, really fight this thing. And it's a challenge level 9 as compared to a normal Hydra. So, since it's warped, it got a +1 for the challenge, right? So it's normally an 8. It's going to be a challenge rating 9. So this can be a way, maybe you're struggling to find a creature that is going to fit for your party, and it's just on the cusp of the right challenge rating, and you got to up it a little bit. These things can help you. Or maybe your party advanced faster than you thought they would in power level, and so now you've got already statted up creatures that you need to buff, and so maybe you can use some of these. Maybe instead of it being a regular crocodile, it can now be a mutated giant crocodile, right? And so that bumps it up to a 7, and then you can take it from there. So lots of fun in here. I mean, so many templates. We just looked at the aberrant section, but as I said, they have venomous, stormborn, spirit, shadow. I mean, just lots and lots of options. And even though aberrant is kind of tied into a creature type, most of these are not. So you can have an icy giant crocodile, a spirit giant crocodile. These templates can be evolved and applied to pretty much any creature type, any creature out there. And that makes it wondrous, like the title says, right? Mix it up. Surprise your players and take advantage of this special offer before it's gone. As I said, only 50 people are going to get 40% off of this. So you want to make sure you click that link. By the time this video airs, several days have gone by, because we release these discounts every Monday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on our social media channels. So be sure to check it out. It's under Wondrous Monsters. First link in the timestamps, also in the pinned comment alphabetically under Wondrous Monsters. Give it a click. All right, our first new release is The Beast of Borgenwold for Old School Essentials from OSR from Harry Minier. And it says, strangeness and terror from beyond the grave. Borgenwold is cursed, they say, cursed by pride and greed to cower in the fear of the past. A fell monstrosity from beyond the grave has risen to devour this town and all who dwell there. Open this book and find a town in the grip of horror, drunken monster hunters in way over their heads, debts, desperate bargains, miraculous goblins feasting upon godflesh, the treasures of the dead, and the price to be paid by those who seek to claim them. So it's designed for characters between 1st and 3rd level, compatible with Old School Essentials or other BX and OSR style games. And right away, when you look at the preview, you get to see a really fun stylistic map. I love this. It's got different hexes with different styles. You see where Borgenwold, and abandoned caravans, the Goblin Village, the river, etc. And then you get all the information. It looks like it's hyperlinked too, so you can quickly jump in the PDF to the different sections. And here's the referee's intro, strangeness and terror from beyond the grave. And then even a timeline to help you with this. So it gives you information on how to use it. So the tomb of a renowned huntress, Lady Camira Vilinkin, has been plundered by her greedy fool of a grandson, Marco. One of Casmira's taxidermied trophies, an undead manticore reanimated by the magics contained within her ancient silver hunting horn, has escaped the tomb. Now it prowls the woods outside Borgenwold, a being of infinite malice, leaking sawdust, varnished, and reeking of chromium salts and embalming fluid. Tireless, sleepless, without mercy, the beast torments Borgenwold, killing its people for sport. It stills the voices of its victims, luring unwary villagers into the darkness for slaughter. So there's a lot going on, which I love, because you can sort of piece together what's happening with your players. You can have them talk about, this tomb, and then later you can have an attack, and then you can piece together that it's this monster that came from the tomb. And I love that it's just killing things for sport, because that's going to be not a fun discovery, but your players will hopefully stand up to the challenge and say, okay, well, we got to stop that. We got to put a stop to that. I can't have that going on. So only by descending into the tomb of Lady Casmira and breaking her ancient silver hunting horn can the beast of Borgenwold be laid to rest. So yeah, they got to go all the way into this dungeon and break this horn. So this is perilous, and yeah, it just seems really fun. I love the art and the layout. The book is just really visually interesting. And I'm guessing, you could adapt it probably if you're a crafty DM to 5th edition. But I think there's even just some fun concepts in here that you could stat up for 5th edition as well. But, Old School Essentials is fun too. BX is fun. OSR is fun. I know a lot of you play 5th edition and these other ones, so it's exciting to see this. And I love the art style. This kind of old school comic book look to it, which is really fun, and I think fits the story. So check it out. It's under Beast of Borgenwold in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have College of Cruelty from Watcher DM. It's $1 for 3 pages, and it's author Jesse Brown, and it is 5th edition. It's got it's for players 4 to 6 players, level 6, runs 3 to 4 hours. It's got a phase spider, giant wolf spider, Eder cap, and then multiple rewards, including slippers of spider climbing, potions of healing, medallion of thoughts, and well of many worlds. It says the multiverse is home to innumerable worlds. Perhaps the most unsettling are worlds that bear a striking similarity to our own world, but are utterly alien in their disparity. Within such a world is the College of Cruelty, a network of institutes suspended on the strands of a continent-sized web. The resident scholars are man-faced spiders, the size of horses pursuing knowledge, without regard for safety, sanctity, or sanity. These arachnidemics are eager to acquire new specimens for study, and they do not solicit consent. So you get this. It's a brochure style. So even though it's 3 pages, it's actually more than that. It's more like 9 when you fold it all up and look at it that way. So you get to see the whole thing in the preview. So you've got all the different points of interest on the web. So bridge detention cages. You've got the area and faculty meeting hall. You've got the chute, specimen containment, and then when you get to the end, you get the arachnidemic, the spundergraduate, and the janitorantula. So you get all kinds of stuff, and they range from challenge level 3 down to 1/4. So pretty cool range there. So let's try to zoom in and read a little bit about some of this stuff. So lecture hall, it says, like all rooms in the College of Cruelty, the dimensions layout of the lecture hall are suited for spider folk, not humanoids. From the perspective of the adventurers, the exit doors are located on the ceiling corners. An arachnidemic is perched at the room's center, giving a lecture on capturing and vivisecting prime material humanoids. Surrounding him, an audience of 30 spundergraduates hang from spider silk. So this is not necessarily what you want to walk into as a humanoid. You're going to be under threat. So I like how intense and dangerous this is immediately. I mean, you need a fireball right away or something if you're going to take out these spundergraduates and get through such a huge group. So it says janitorantula, a slave servant in the College of Cruelty, resembles a muscular humanoid covered head to toe in a spider-themed jumpsuit. Underneath is a hideous hybrid monstrosity, what remains of a captured humanoid. Functions as an Eder cap, its poison claws and web stem from arachnid additions tortuously grafted to his body. Okay, so you don't want to become a janitorantula either. So yeah, just fun stuff. There's a portal control tower, and you can see, a little bit more. They've got whole statted out janitorantulas and other stuff in here. But I mean, it seems fun. A whole continent-sized web with stuff going on where you got to get through it and maybe get the well of many worlds going on as a reward, which could lead to, presumably with a name like Well of Many Worlds, that could lead to a lot of further adventures in strange places like this College of Cruelty. So check it out. It's in the links below in the video description under College of Cruelty. Give it a click. Next, we have the Dragon's Hoard number 22, which is a magazine from Legendary Games. It's $6.99 for 30 pages, a bunch of authors, and it's basically a monthly anthology of magic items, spells, monsters, and more for 5th edition. So you get, in this case, you get magical items like the Blast Helmet, Auto Grapnel, Sapling Rod, and Hard Light Shield. You also get new spells like Abundant Ammunition, Liberating Command, Peace Bond, and Daybreak Arrow. New class options including the Border, Android, and Military Society. And then you get monsters like the Church Grim, the Rakatavarna Rakshasha, and the Time Dragon. So lots of options, and these are great because you can plug and play. They're not married to a giant setting where you feel, oh, should I keep the whole setting? Do I need to keep everything related to this, or do I have to, cut and paste and do all this stuff? You can just plop these in because they're meant to be used independently. So right away you get the Auto Grapnel here, the Blast Helmet, the Eye Patch of Adjustment, the Decoy Ring. So some fun items. So let's read the Decoy Ring. Whenever the wearer is adjacent to at least one enemy and becomes unconscious or paralyzed or uses the dash action to move away from those enemies, the Decoy Ring triggers automatically. The wearer becomes invisible, although their allies can perceive them without difficulty. The Decoy Ring also creates 4 illusory duplicates of the wearer, which each run away in different directions or perform other plausible actions at the GM's discretion to direct the attention of enemies away from the invisible wearer. These illusory duplicates disappear if struck by an attack versus AC 10, though they are not destroyed by area effects. An opponent can use an action to disbelieve the illusions with a DC 17 intelligence saving throw, with success recognizing them as illusory but not revealing the invisible creature. The invisibility and illusory duplicates both vanish after 3 rounds at the end of the wearer's turn. After being activated, the Decoy Ring does not function again until 24 hours have passed. So all of a sudden there's these duplicates of you creating a distraction, getting you out of a situation. And it's interesting because it automatically triggers if you become unconscious, paralyzed, or dash. So it's kind of like a fail-safe. It protects you, and it's rare, so this isn't something you're going to hopefully give to a first level character. So yeah, I like it. It's interesting. I like that you don't really have control over it, so you have to meet these conditions, and the DM can also decide, okay, it is going to trigger or not trigger, and that it's only once every day, basically. So this isn't going to be going off all the time, but I like the art for it, and that's just one. They've got the Eye Patch of Adjustment, Blast Helmet, Ends in a Parlay. I mean, and that's just the items. There's also all these monsters like the Cauldron Bloom, the Time Dragon, which they have 4 different ages for, and then you get some class options and other stuff like spells. So I always enjoy the Dragon's Hoard issues that come out to supplement 5th edition with just random things, spells, magic items, class options, monsters. Good little way to mix in some new stuff without a whole setting. So check it out. It's under Dragon's Hoard 22 in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have The Draining Caverns of the Winged Beast by Jeremiah Leppert, and it's an adventure for 5th edition for 5 to 6 characters, or level 5 to 6 characters. It says something is plaguing the farmland around the village of Oxdale out in the middle of nowhere. The beast visits regularly and carries off an animal, disappearing into the hill country north of the village. Word is that it is also buzzing around the new goblin camp to the northwest. It wasn't too big of a deal until it tried to carry off a village youngling. Now the mayor and the citizens want it dealt with immediately. So this strange beast is causing problems. The party's got to figure out what it is, and this is a one-shot to do that. And you can do it with 4 5th or 6th level characters. It can, be in between stuff. Maybe they haven't reached level 7. They need to reach level 7. And so you fill in with this, get them to level 7, and then proceed with whatever the rest of your campaign is. And the way it's described, you could put Oxdale anywhere. You could even change Oxdale's name to some town name on your existing map if you're working in the Forgotten Realms or, some other existing setting. So you get the adventure PDF with the combat encounters and opportunities for exploration, as well as role-playing, 4 maps one for the region, one village, and 2 battle maps. And then you get a random encounter table for trekking through the hill country, and you get a magic dagger held by the vampire. So lots of stuff that you get with this. So looking inside, you can see kind of how it sets it up. It's got multiple parts until it gets to part 4, which is the resolution. Then you got stat blocks at the end, including the returning dagger, and then of course all your maps. So really cool. Just gonna quickly scroll through so you can see some of the things. So like right here's the random encounters as they trek through the hills, and then they've got a cave where they encounter a Dustclaw. It looks like CR3. So really cool. Living chamber, laboratory, and even role-playing Graylin, which is cool. That's really helpful to know how to play this vampire character, it looks like. So he's a CR7. So very helpful, easy to read. So let's read some of the flavor text here. It says, surrounded by farmland and rolling hills is the quaint village of Oxdale. Following the dirt road past the pear orchards and oat fields leads to a cobblestone plaza. Dozens of plain log buildings and thatched huts line the small streets radiating from the square. Oxdale's residents are mostly farmers who live just outside the village along with their families and hired farmhands. The tradesmen settle around the plaza. The town has no walls, but a watchtower sits in the corner of the plaza. On the few light posts around this plaza are signs asking for adventurers to kill a beast and to see Mayor Shootbrace at the town hall for details. So then there's some more information on that, and then you get each of the little people that you might find. So you have Kerr Polel. Kerr saw the beast as it attacked a little girl not too long ago. It flew right at him in the watchtower as it left. He's the most credible witness, so he can tell you that it has the body of a giant eagle, which is true, the wings like a bat, which is true, stout bronze legs, eagle's beak and boar's tusks, and arrows seem to bounce off of it. So it's nice that each of these witnesses are going to remember things a little differently. So super helpful. Love it. And you're going to get so many maps, some random encounters, and lots of stat blocks in here. I love that. You can always use these stat blocks elsewhere too. So a lot on offer here. Looks like a fun little one-shot, level 5 to 6, which is a good range for a one-shot, because that seems to be like that border between a tier where some characters may just not have caught up, or they missed a session, and so now it's just the characters are lagging behind, and you need to get them all to level 7. So really good opportunity. Look for it in the links below under Draining Caverns of the Winged Beast and give it a click. Next we have the Horned Emperor one-shot from Goblin Scrawl Games, and it's for 5th edition, characters level 4 to 6, and author PJ Perello and editor Kelly Perello. So it's free, which is really cool, and it's 11 pages, and it says, the Emperor is dead, long live the Emperor. A long-dead goblinoid empire was ruled by a vicious but clever minotaur known only as the Horned Emperor. When he died, his subjects laid him to rest in a barrow and placed wards on his tomb to prevent him from rising to continue his reign from beyond the grave. A barrow that was lost to time until now. So 4 to 5 characters of 4th to 6th level. You get a map of the Barrow Town. It looks like stat blocks for all monsters, and then a numbered map so that you can use that in your VTT, which is always helpful. So you can see how the structure is, running the adventure, and then all the key locations, general features. So here's the Barrow. So pretty cool, and it's got numbers on it right now, but what the description says here is that there's also a version included without those numbers, so you can put it on your VTT and cover up some areas, etc., to give some secret areas for them to discover as you uncover what all's there. And it's a pretty decent sized map, right? You've got 7 different areas. So, if you're starting here, you could cover up all of this, and it's like, okay, there's a boulder in your face. How are you going to get through it? And then work their way through and discover all of this stuff. So I think it's pretty cool, and that last chamber looks really fun. So you can't see everything in here, but again, it's free, so why not grab a copy? So we'll read about the Barrow entrance. It says, a round hill more like a simple mound of earth rises from the softly rolling plain. The mound is encircled by a ditch filled with almost 1 foot of water from recent rainfall. Atop the mound, off to one side, is a long dead tree. On the southern side of the mound, several stones are set into the hillside, forming a sort of doorway, with one massive boulder sitting where the door would be. Up close, it is obvious that the mound is not a natural formation. Anyone investigating the boulder blocking the entrance can see evidence that it has been moved out and back into place recently. If the party climbs the mound, investigates the dead tree, and succeeds on an investigation check, they will realize that toppling the tree could offer an alternate entrance to the barrow. Toppling the tree requires a successful athletics check. So there's a tree that can be toppled to help you get into the barrow instead of these boulders, moving these boulders, although you could try to move the boulders too. So really cool. I love that this is free and that you're getting maps. I mean, it's not even suggested price where you can pay something. So really awesome option for people looking for a one-shot and maps. So check it out. It's under Horned Emperor in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got Mysteries of Middlerock, the Lost Raghba, with a suggested price of $9.99 for 26 pages, and it's by Brightly Brewed and 𝙤𝙤𝙢𝙬𝙢. And it says, in the district of Middlerock City, a hunched silhouette can be seen scavenging through the rubble of demolished shops. The female figure stands tall with arms resting on their waist as they look up and sigh in frustration. Pondering in her own thoughts whilst gazing upon the clear skies, her eyes widen as a body appears out of thin air above her. She steps back in panic as she hears a sudden loud thud. The mutilated body has fallen in the rubble in front of her. Taking a closer look, her eyes widen, and she screams as she realizes what she has seen was not her own imagination. So it's a murder mystery adventure that takes place in the city of Middlerock in the Shattered Spires Mountains, a homebrew setting published by Brightly Brewed. And it's compatible with 5th edition, designed for 4 characters of 5th level. And it can be a standalone or incorporated into a longer campaign. And it says it's a murder mystery adventure. Can be completed in 4 to 8 hours. And there's an entire city map, additional custom deadline system that can be used, multiple endings, and multiple solutions to the case, which I love. You don't see that often in these murder mysteries. And then, of course, you get battle maps that are colored and printer friendly. And then there's even some arrest forms, which are PDF fillable and print friendly, as well as some tokens. So let's look inside. Unfortunately, the full-size preview there's an error on it right now, so I can't look at that. But we can zoom in on this one and see a little bit of it. So you've got running the adventure, and then all the different sections, and then a little bit about the Lost Raghba. But look at this beautiful city map. I mean, really nice. And it gives you the investigative action points, the story overview. So much to see. Approaching the garrison, and you see the little arrest form that you can fill out. I love the layout. This is really nice layout. The central market, antique shop, rock bottom inn, and then look at this really cool mansion. I mean, just so much here to see. Let's see if we can zoom in more and read. It says, as you make your way to the highest hill of the Noble Folk district, you find yourself facing the gates of Pebblebrook's mansion. You notice the mansion is surrounded by a stone wall, and a few of Mr. Pebblebrook's hired guards are patrolling. As you look up, you see the roof is made out of very unique green tile material. The walls are clean with an off-white color, and the wooden frames are carved with detailed design. Beyond the gates, there lies a cobblestone path cutting through the well-maintained gardens and leading towards the front door. You see multiple windows to what you can only assume are a dozen or more rooms. In the corner of your eye, you notice papers and books being thrown out of a wide-open window from the upper floor. Before you keep watching, you are called out by a guard who says, "You there, what are you up to? What business do you bring?" So you have to deal with this guard, but you can see there's a cool map of this mansion and all sorts of papers all over the ground in one of the rooms. But yeah, I mean, I really like the look of this. There's a central market approaching the garrison. Here you have, while adventurers are given free roam of the city, they are also given a deadline. Every visit of a location on the city map counts as an investigative action, and the group can do 6 investigative actions per day. This additional system encourages the players to be selective of their choices, since every decision to investigate an area brings them closer to their deadline. For example, if the deadline is 3 days, then the total number of investigative actions they can do over the city map is 18. The game master should also keep track of the active numbers of investigative actions played. The total number of IA taken corresponds to the time of the day and some of the NPCs or clues designed to be available during certain times. So morning, afternoon, night, a long rest would cost 2 investigative actions. So you could even port this system to other mysteries once you've purchased this book. So I feel like there's a lot of cool stuff in here, a lot of fun artwork, and I just like the idea of this murder mystery too, with this big huge city map for you, and it's all under Mysteries of Middlerock in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Nature's Wrath by Elven Tower and Innoside World Builder, and it is a 5th edition, of course, and it says special collaboration with another creator, Innoside Worlds Builder. In Nature's Wrath, a group of level 4 adventurers must confront a physical representation of nature. After years of insolent deforestation and disrespect for nature, an avatar that represents all the forests and seas came to life and had the purpose of teaching mortals a lesson, but the evil and corruption of the material plane drove it mad. Now it is an uncontrollable elemental force filled with rage and hatred. The avatar of nature has settled in Black Angler Lighthouse, located a few miles north of New Haven's lumber mill. There's been no news of the lighthouse keeper or the 4-man crew from the mill for a while, so the authorities of the Goldshell Coast look for a group of heroes to be hired and sent to investigate. They ignore that these men are already dead, but perhaps there is still hope. Perhaps the avatar of nature still has good in it. So really cool. And as usual, beautiful, stunning artwork and layout from Elven Tower. So you get a really cool map right off the bat. I mean, this is a really cool mill. You can see, where the water is, and some logs sort of strewn about. And it goes into what happened, and then here's the lighthouse front view of it, which is really cool. And the ground floor. I mean, these maps are just stunning, as usual. Elven Tower, it just kills it with the maps, and then they have beautiful layout as well. But, I mean, these successive levels, so you're going all the way up to the 4th floor, and I love that the map also shows, like, the footprint of the tower. And this is only $1.95. I cannot believe the prices on these adventures, because just these maps, to me, would cost a lot more, but you're getting access to them and this really cool adventure all together. And the Avatar of Nature is a CR4 that they're going to come up against there at the end. But let's go back up and read a little bit of the beginning. So we've got some adventure hooks. It says, cleaning Black Angler Lighthouse, the Goldshell Coast Navy hires the characters for 2,000 GP to get rid of the outlaws that have taken over the lighthouse. There's been no news from the old lighthouse keeper or the 4-man lumber mill crew for days. Another way to get them involved is Nature's Call. One of the characters, preferably a druid or ranger with a strong connection with nature, has a vision during a dream. They feel compelled to go to the lumber mill. Another option is a pirate's heirloom. Silverbeard, a renowned pirate, hires the heroes for 1,000 GP to break into the lighthouse and retrieve a family heirloom, a golden locket. He agrees to give the heroes a ride to the lumber mill at the shore. The superstitious pirate does not dare approach the haunted lighthouse. So those are all 3 super different, right? I always love that about Elven Tower. Their adventure hooks are so totally different. Sometimes it's, when you read adventure hooks, it's like they're copy paste with like a slight change, but these are all very different, and you could even layer them and have the druids start having weird dreams, then not really be able to explain the dreams, and then as they encounter this navy, the Goldshell Coast Navy, then the druid could go, oh, I'm feeling like this lumber mill that he's talking about is where I've been dreaming about, right? And you could just kind of weave it in. You could also, with the pirate's heirloom, Silverbeard needs the heroes to go retrieve a family heirloom from there. You could have a second group, maybe, or just an individual NPC that kind of gets in the middle of all this, trying to get this golden locket. And so it creates a complication, right? So there's the way they do their adventure hooks is always so good, because you have multiple story points and ways to get the characters involved. If you have a table that is difficult to get involved in stories, then Elven Tower's adventure hooks are great, because if one doesn't work, you can rope them in with a different hook, But as I said, you can also use them to layer in different things happening at once and complicating the situation. which could be really fun as well. And I look at all this beautiful artwork and maps you're going to get for $1.95. Just so cool, because you get separate high-res map files, printer-friendly black and white PDF, and then of course the adventure PDF as well. So stunning stuff for a great low price. Check it out. It's under Nature's Wrath in the links below. Give it a click. Next we got Petrifying Weight and the Queen of Light from 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬, and it is $1.99 suggested price for 19 pages, and it's for 5th edition. It says, deep inside a lightless cave, an ancient race has been imprisoned in stone. Their queen still holds a unique item desired by many that has seen countless adventurers delve beneath the surface. Why the queen and her army were confined here and by whom is a mystery lost to time. Surviving the monstrosities inside and uncovering the secrets of the Queen of Light is a challenge that no one has yet been able to rise to. So you get a 1-page dungeon map, additional background details and running the dungeon section, hooks to further adventures, monster stat blocks, NPC stat blocks, artifacts, magic items, just all kinds of good stuff in here. So you can see the 1-page dungeon, running the dungeon, all that stuff, as well as information to get your introduction. And what I love is, if you look at this page, if I zoom out, you can see sort of the map of the dungeon and then just all these call outs on it. So imagine how helpful and easy this is going to be to run if you can print this or have it on your display, and it's got all these call outs to every single room. So it's just super simple and easy. You can see, like, it says a basilisk growls from the cave and swallows one of the men. A second basilisk appears if the first is hurt quickly. So stuff going on. Petrified body of a Gorgon next to shining armor. Roland and Nicole mock the stupid Gorgon and discuss petrification. They grab the armor and claim all the loot as their own, but allow the party to carry some for a few coins. So you've got some NPCs involved in this. List of loot. I mean, just really cool, and I like the layout. So stone bodies. It says the voices of 2 men can be heard from up ahead. One voice, Rowland Parrott, is excited, while the other, Nicole Brew, is more hushed and conservative. They are here to collect what they believe to be the Ring of Petrification from the Queen of Light. The ring is being worn by the Queen of Light, who was trapped here centuries ago when her people were banished from their land. She must be unpetrified to remove the ring without breaking it. So really cool connection to the Queen of Light. You've got Gorgons, you've got basilisks, all sorts of stone things happening. I like how thematic this is. And it says the 1-page dungeon is a series of easy to run dungeons using 5th edition rules. Each dungeon can be run using only the dungeon on page 4, and then the rest of the book is background information. So I love that setup. It makes it really simple and straightforward, and just really cool. So check it out. It's under Petrifying Weight in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Ravensrook, the black-winged city of brigands and bandits, a grimdark fantasy setting for both 5th edition and OSR. And it's from Wicked Studios, LLC, $14.99 for 139 pages. Author William Henry Dvorak. And it says, the lands of free lords is a patchwork of petty kingdoms, bandit lords, and misfit war camps sandwiched between evil empires, do-gooder nations, and religious zealots. While regional warlords rose and fell over the ages, there was one constant within this chaotic land, the famed city of Ravensrook, the black-winged city of bandits and brigands, the only proper city within the lands of the free lords. Fully compatible with 5th edition and OSR, so super helpful to have both. So you get a history of Ravensrook and its region, full overview of the city's government, a full breakdown of the 4 tiers of the city, along with the prominent businesses and guilds to be found in each one, a full city map showing the locations of all the important businesses, guild halls, and governmental buildings, information on 14 different factions within the city, entries on the top 16 guilds of the city, 23 entries for the most important NPCs, and a listing of all the gods worshipped within Ravensrook, along with the monsters specific to the city and their stat blocks. So really a comprehensive city for you, 139 pages, and for 2 different systems, which is awesome. So it says welcome, all the information on it, and then you get the history, hierarchy, power brokers, etc. breakdown in the table of contents, and then right away the history of Ravensrook that you can read about. So Really nice. I love the artwork and layout. Really easy on the eyes to read. So let's read a little bit about Ravensrook. It says, the history of Ravensrook goes back several hundred years to a time when the region was just beginning to earn its notorious reputation as the home of bandits and brigands. One of these bandits, a great leader known as Lartavian, founded a camp where bandits could meet, barter, and swap the goods they had plundered. The camp was an instant success, and the ever-scheming Lartavian soon discovered he could make more gold maintaining his trade camp than caravan raiding, which was frankly far more dangerous and exhausting. The camp quickly grew into a small village, which took its name from a large congress of ravens that nested on a nearby rock outcropping. It is said that the descendants of those same ravens live in Ravensrook to this day, and legend promises that so long as the ravens roost there, the city will never be conquered. This association with ravens has also given rise to more recent urban tales of a race of magical beings that can take on either a raven or bird-like humanoid form. It is considered bad luck to kill ravens of the Ravensrook because the power of these legends, as well as more immediate fear of reprisals from the bird people that hide among the populace. Lartavian, however, died as most wealthy bandits do under mysterious circumstances, and many years before he could see Ravensrook grow into a city of influence. So all sorts of things going on. You've got these ravens that kind of caused the naming of this town. You've got this history of it being just first a trading spot and then growing into a city. You've got bird people hiding amongst the populace. So much going on, weaved into the fabric of this town. And this is just the beginning of the book. The book has all these factions, all these areas of the town, a full town map, city map, I should say. It's a city, not even a town. You've got all these guilds and gods and other things in here to make this a really fun city. I mean, it seems like there's hooks and food, drink, lodging. I mean, just everything you could want. If you're looking for a home base to just center all your homebrew creations around, have things spread out from here for other adventures, maybe even, famous adventures, you could place Ravensrook anywhere you want or need it to be, and just really enjoy all the richness that has gone into this from Wicked Studios and author William. I think it's really fun. I would love to just even read through it, just almost like a novel, because the writing was really good, and it sounds like they've really put a lot of passion and thought into the background of the city. So check it out. It's under Ravensrook in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Tuwa, a 5th edition campaign setting and supplement from B2D Press, and it is $15 for the PDF, or you can get a softcover standard color for $20, or a combination of the two for the same price as the softcover. So for $20 you can get the PDF and the standard color, and this is a 66-page book by Dale Easterling. And it says Tuwa is a homebrew campaign setting for 5th edition, and you'll find unique races, classes, equipment, monsters, and sample characters to create and utilize in this wild setting. As a supplement to the core rules, this campaign can be used with any and all established Dungeons & Dragons options, rules, and systems. And it's inspired by the rich tapestry of Native American folklore and mythology, with over 500 individual nations and tribes. This assortment of languages and stories has been compiled into a purely fictional world. Through Algonquin, Lakota, Inuit, and Mayan influences, our strongest inspiration for Tuwa culture, this book is not intended to represent nor accurately depict these cultures. It makes no claims on historical accuracy or linguistic purity, as Tuwa is a fictional world. So you get the races, 7 of those, 5 island continents with an atlas, new weapons and armor, local languages and racial feats, optional flaw mechanic, 42 spiritual, animal, and elemental domains, and a bestiary with 25 new creatures. And then there's a little video down here. There's also a world map and an adventure, so you could click our link and then come here and get all of those through this bundle. And you can also get the PDF and the book together, which is also available here. So I would use this to get the PDF and the book together. But really, really cool. Love this. It sounds really fun. So the races are Animalkin, Earthkin, Ghost, Little People, Merfolk, Sasquatch, Shapeshifter. And then you got the Atlas, which has all those different islands. And then you got mechanics like racial feats, languages, currency, armor, weapons, spirit animals, and flaws. And then, of course, the bestiary. And so really cool artwork in here. And we get to read about the Animalkin in the preview. So it says, let's see, it says, despite how human they look, animalkin are assuredly beings of nature. They typically live far from human settlements and rarely desecrate the land by building huts or tents from the corpses of trees. Instead, they are most often found in caves, underground, or even in open craters. Animalkin that do find their way into human society rarely like what they see. They take particular offense to the domestication of animals, especially dogs and horses. It is not uncommon for animalkin to grow angry or even violent in these cases. That gives you some ideas of their names. And just look at the artwork of what the animalkin look like. Really cool, different looks to them. And let's read a little bit about the intro here. So the world of Tuwa is inspired by the rich tapestry of Native American folklore and mythology. Let's see, okay, a lot of that was in the intro, so we don't want to reread that. But yeah, you can see that there's beautiful artwork, nice layout, lots of cool imagery in here. And earthkin, ghosts, merfolks, all kinds of races that you're going to have access to, packaged with really nice art. And I'm amazed you can get it for $20, get the print and digital. So that'd be really cool to have the book in your hands and the digital version, because it's only $5 more to get the print book. So I definitely recommend doing that. Why not grab both? Well, that's our last DriveThruRPG title for the week. We're going to move on to DM's Guild, but before we do, please like the video for the algorithm, comment on the video. I will respond to all comments personally, and subscribe to the channel. If you can share the video out there, that's really appreciated. And also click all these links and support all these awesome creators. If you make any purchase after clicking those links, you're also going to support the channel through a small affiliate fee. And if you really want to support the channel, consider one of our 6 books that we've released. We've got Swarms of the Multiverse, which is over 180 pages of swarm goodness, including how to make a balanced swarm from any stat block for 5th edition. 70 new creatures and all their corresponding swarm stat blocks, whether they form swarms, control swarms, command swarms, whatever their connection to swarms is. You get multiple stat blocks per creature. So there's over 140 stat blocks and over 150 adventure hooks to go along with those, including tactics, lore, extra things like magic items, demiplanes, diseases connected to these creatures. So each creature has given you a ton of ways to incorporate them into your campaign. So you'll have lots of adventure ideas from reading through that. And it's print or digital. Then also for print or digital, we got Potions Unlocked, which is over 100 pages of potion stuff, including brand new potions that have an origin short story for each of them. How did they come into existence? And then warnings for overusing them. How do they smell? How do they taste? How do you make the potion if you want to craft it? And then you got potion vendors with fully stocked inventories and maps and all sorts of potion themed locations. So you can have a whole potion campaign if you want to. And it's, as I said, print or digital. And then we've got our best-selling Feywild Companion, which is over 150 pages, print or digital as well, for the Feywild and all sorts of Fey stuff, including subclasses, spells, magic items, monsters, encounters, full adventures, and a brand new Domain of Delight. It's just literally everything you could need to supplement Wild Beyond the Witchlight or to create your own Feywild adventure. And it's just so much fun. I mean, some of the monsters in there are just out of this world, and you've got full adventures you can play through. And the Domain of Delight has a map, so if you want to have a different Domain of Delight other than Prismeer from the official Wizards of the Coast, you've got one with a map. So you could go from Prismeer to Dualis, which is the one in that book. So really good options there. Then we've got other books like Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, which has 13 subclasses, all dragon themed, and trinkets, Hoard magic items, draconic secrets, adventure hooks, spells, a familiar. It's just all dragon stuff, and it's really cool that there's those adventure hooks in there, because then the DM can use these beyond for players. So lots of player content, but we worked in the DM content as well. And then you've got Van Richten's Libram of Lineages with 4 conflict-driven lineages to really make your players have a lot of fun. getting to know their character and dealing with the internal conflicts they're going to have by having these lineages either forced on them or starting out with these lineages, and they're suitable for any setting. And then we've also got rules on how to chain one lineage to another, so you can start as one lineage, move to another as the characters are playing, or how to strip off a lineage from a character if you get tired of it and want them to go back to the original race that they were playing. And then we've got, lastly, Secrets of the Draugr, which is a melding of the Drow race with the Duergar race to create something new with different myths and deities. And you've got a fortune-telling method, subclasses, NPCs, adventure hooks, all waiting for you in that book. So lots of options to support us. You can read all about those at splinterverse.com. Look at the covers, read more about it, click through to the sites to purchase them, and even sign up for our newsletter. We are working on a Dragonlance book that's going to be huge, and it's going to be on DM's Guild, and I can't wait for you to see it. It is really fun. It is, I can't reveal too much right now, but we are slowly teasing it on our social media, so make sure you're following us at Splinterverse everywhere so you can see those little teasers as we get closer and closer to the release of that book later this year. All right, thanks so much for watching. Let's move on to DM's Guild. Our first DM's Guild title is Blackjammer's Revenge for Spelljammer by Keen Hudson and Narcissa Nightshade. It is $9.99 for 79 pages. It says, have ye ever heard the legend of Blackjammer's Cutlass? The famed artifact was thought lost in the flow, but has resurfaced. Passing twixt pirate captain's hands cross the astral sea. What's more is Captain Blackjammer himself, long thought vanquished, has returned, sailing the fiendish Banshee Queen's revenge from the depths of the abyss to reclaim his cutlass and terrorize the living of realm space once again. So it's a module that's lovingly crafted to sort of pay homage to the classic Spelljammer stuff. And it's got the Blackjammer's Cutlass, which is an artifact from Dragon Magazine 159 back in 1990. And it's also in the Book of Artifacts from 1997. And there's 79 pages of Wildspace terror here, exploring the legend of the dread pirate lich Blackjammer and his plans for the mortal realm. You can escape his plague ship, capture his cutlass, explore his lair, battle the revenge on the astral seas, and put an end to the lich once and for all. So it's really for players of any level, and you get what happened on the Empress of the Astral Sea, so cosmic horror in that section. And then you get Ghosts of the Bonnie Family Mausoleum, which is a one-session dungeon delve on the Rock of Brawl's cemetery. Then you've got Pirate Hunting, retrieving Blackjammer's Cutlass. It's a race to beat Blackjammer to the gnomish captain currently in possession of the Cutlass and claim the artifact for yourself. And there's more. I'm not going to read all of it. I want you to take a look at this yourself. But, I mean, you can see some of the fun artwork involved in this. And we'll zoom in on the quick preview so we can read a little bit for you. But you got the table of contents. So, I mean, this is a lot of pages devoted to this adventure or series of adventures, which is really cool. So, get all the information on the Cutlass here in the beginning and Captain Blackjammer himself. You get his past, and then swallowed by the abyss. So it says, defeated by the Jiff, unconscious and bleeding out, his fleet smashed Blackjammer and his dying crew were sucked into the abyss by a portal of shadowy flame, reported as strange weather. So that's kind of how he disappeared, but now he's back. And so then you've got the different officers like Dr. Stitch and the priest Vera and the cook Galad. And then, of course, Captain Blackjammer, who's a CR 21 or 22 in his lair. He's 22. And then you got the Banshee Queen's Revenge, which is, the vehicle and the different weapons it has. And then you've got a skeleton ship, which is really cool. Look at the art for that. Which is another vehicle. It's got a skull ram weapon. So lots of cool stuff to integrate with your Spelljammer. I mean, even if you just wanted to use the skeleton ship as some sort of enemy that you come across as you're traveling through Wildspace, you could do that. It says undead pirates sometimes use these vessels to plunder and raid, mounting one ballista in the jawbones of the skeleton and the other on its spine. The helm is supported by the belly ribs. Often, the helm of such a ship will be a life jammer, in which case captives will be kept as fuel. So lots of story potential. You could have an NPC that gets taken, and then you find out that they're being used as fuel on this skeleton ship to power it, because it's got a life jammer. So many story possibilities, but I mean, it's just a lot of fun artwork, and you really get the feel of this history of Spelljammer. I mean, Spelljammer is just newly returned to Dungeons and Dragons for 5th edition, but it has a long history. I mean, it's been around since 2nd edition, so that's many, many years ago, the 90s basically, 80s, 90s, late 80s, 90s. So having all of this brought back, having these enemies, having these 4 linked adventures to end Blackjammer's curse is really cool. And the players can join forces with Veronica Hardy, who is like an investigator. And so you get a little bit of that almost like Ravenloft feel to it a little bit too. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun for people, and a lot of reusability, because you have these different ships that you can use, and even just, like I said, have that skeleton ship kind of creep in to your existing campaign, and then, you know, later it can take you into all of this, because it seems to be scalable for different levels. So check it out. It's in the links below under Blackjammer's Revenge. Give it a click. Next, we've got Demigods and Divine Essences, additional character options, features, and monstrous enhancements by Justin Rhodes, $2.95 for 10 pages. It says you are a demigod, whether through lineage, destiny, or happenstance. You have been granted the power of the gods. What you choose to do with that power is up to you. Divine energy is woven throughout the cosmos. What if you were able to reach out and grasp even just a fragment of it? What if you could harness that divine energy and take your place among the stars? So you get a supplemental character features and options to create a demigod PC, special abilities granted by divine essences, which add a dynamic layer to your character's existing abilities, rules for customizing your own divine essences, and 16 monstrous enhancement features for dungeon masters to utilize for more compelling encounters. So you get like a mixed bag of things, which is great. So you've got these divine essences and the ability to make a PC a demigod, and then you get some things to tweak some monsters. So you're getting a good amount of material for only $2.95. So I like that. So it goes into what the deific boon is, and then your divine essences, and then how do you achieve godhood, how do you enhance monsters, etc. So you get to see 4 of those 10 pages. So with the deific boon, at 3rd level, you receive a permanent blessing from a deity or other divine power who favors you. So you can get a +2 to a stat of your choice. You can get proficiency in a saving throw of your choice, or advantage on all ability checks for 1 skill of your choice. And then you've got divine essences. Being a demigod allows you to possess a unique magical item called a divine essence. Divine essences do not require attunement and grant many benefits to your character. Any attribute bonuses granted by divine essences are capable of raising your character attributes beyond 20. Essences are incorporated into a demigod's physical body and therefore cannot be dropped or stolen. As you progress in level, you are capable of carrying multiple divine essences at a time. So you have the different essences, and we're going to see just a few of them here, but one of them is Lesser Essence of Water, so you get a +1 to Dex and Intelligence, you get Resistance to Cold, and as a bonus action, you can make a ranged attack at a creature within 30 feet of you. On a successful hit, the target takes 2d12 plus your Dex mod, cold damage, and has disadvantage on the next attack it makes before the start of your next turn. And then you got Fluid Casting. As a bonus action, you enter into a hyper-aware state and are able to quell the onslaught of enemy spells until the start of your next turn. Each ally within 30 feet of you has advantage on the next saving throw they make against an enemy creature spell, and you have advantage on any spellcasting check you make until the start of your next turn. So very thematic with the water. It's like flowing, fluid casting, flowing around. So cool. And that's just one. There's 4 you can read here, and it seems like there's quite a few in the book to give you that feeling of becoming godlike, which I think would be fun to play with in D&D for sure. So check it out. It's under Demigods and Divine Essences in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Elmandar's Star Charts by Michael Kuhn's, $4.95 for 48 pages. And it says, design and customize your own Wildspace systems with this light and flexible tool. The book provides 26 pages of random tables and guidelines to detail Wildspace systems for Spelljammer, or maybe other systems, sci-fi systems or planetary systems. And it's inspired by the second edition box set, but it adds modern updates to be more flexible and usable by the 5th edition rule set. There's a blank Wildspace system tracking sheet and Wildspace system maps to help you visualize the layout of your systems. And then there's 3 complete Wildspace systems so that you can use those immediately. And then there's 4 magical items and 2 new spells. So that's also super helpful. And, you just never know when your character is going to want to further explore Wildspace. So having books like this to help you really flesh it out, you don't have to, have it brewed for you. You can use this to kind of homebrew it with some inspiration. Although there are books out there that will also brew it for you. And certainly you can just say, I'm going to roll a 1 on every table and just pick immediately, or use the built-in system. So this is the best of both worlds because they've got some pre-generated systems for you. And then, of course, you can create your own. So you see that you go through the system order. Is it an orbital system? Is it special? So if it's special, it doesn't follow classic orbital mechanics and may have some other strange, unique behaviors. And then it's got like a fixed system, a single planet, random movement, or it's a void, or it's a singularity like a black hole. And it goes into what each of those is. And then what's the primary? Is there a primary sun? Are there twin suns? Is there a planet? Nothing is the primary, or is there a black hole? It goes through what that means. And then talks about portals. So maybe there's portals to other planes, which could be really fun. And then major celestial objects. So what are the bodies? Like, is there 1 major celestial object, 2, 3, 4, etc.? So you can roll and determine those, or you can pick from the list. This can be just inspiration, or it can be full guidance where you're just rolling and determining everything. So whatever you want to do. But really cool. I think it could be helpful to have something like this to just get you through that writer's block, that creator's block, and just help you figure it all out. And we're only seeing 8 of the 48 pages, so we're seeing some of the sort of introductory stuff. How many celestial bodies does it have? What kind of system is it? So that's a sort of high level structure of the system. I'm sure as you get into the 48 pages, you're going to get into the more specific stuff, which will really, I think, define and refine whatever system you're creating. So, but there's still cool stuff like this one, the crystal shell. The Wildspace system is completely encased in an indestructible crystal shell. No power known throughout the multiverse except maybe that of the gods can break this structure. Contained within the shell is a complete Wildspace system. So you roll or choose from the Wildspace system again to see what kind of system is inside that crystal shell. So it says, although the crystal shell is indestructible, it is not impenetrable. A few spells and magic items exist in the multiverse that can allow passage through a crystal shell. So you can see it's got some unique systems as well. And then you've got solar inhabitants, most often classified as stars or even suns. Fire bodies are all-consuming furnaces generating the most intense amounts of light and heat anywhere in the Wildspace. Even the small, relatively cool ones. Very few creatures willingly call this place home, and anyone that does has an extremely strong connection to the elemental plane of fire, likely having used a direct portal from the plane to the fire body itself. And so you can see like Magman, Salamander, Ifrits, Solar Dragons, etc. are going to be the inhabitants of that, that could be in the sun, basically, of some of these worlds. So lots of stuff in here. I think it's really inspirational and can help you really map it out. Make your own little star chart of Wildspace. So check it out. It's under Elmandar's Star Charts in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Heroes of Wildspace, Artificer, Barbarian, and Bard from E.R.F. Jordan, $1.95 for 5 pages. And so this is going to give you some subclasses that tie into Wildspace so that you can really get that flavor and that flair for your character as you navigate through space in the D&D way, right? So you've got the astral shipwright. This artificer is a master of movement and vehicles, using their personalized star glider to soar through wild space in pursuit of their foes. Then you got the barbarian path of the concussive. The barbarian harnesses raw psychic power and unleashes it in powerful concussive blasts, blowing enemies away with psionic shockwaves. Then you've got the College of Stars, where the bard takes inspiration from the stars, recording constellations, navigating by the night sky, and wielding starlight in battle. So that could be really fun. So we get to see the Artificer here in the preview. And it says, natural talent might help an adventurer in Wildspace from moment to moment, but training is the bedrock of success. Training means different things to different people. Some adventurers spend years in academies hidden in the far corners of the astral sea, while others train under wise mentors with decades of spelljamming experience under their belt. Some even train themselves, experimenting with their hazardous surroundings and learning from their failures. Training and growth define an adventure more than any other factor. This series provides a variety of subclass options for adventurers, each incorporating the major themes of Spelljammer. So very cool. And then you see right away the Astral Shipwright. Artificers that build and repair Spelljammers and other space vehicles are called Astral Shipwrights. These artificers are coveted members of any Spelljammer crew, able to keep the ship well maintained and effect repairs after serious bouts of combat. So you get proficiency in smith's tools. You have certain spells ready, including some of the ones down here like Pass Wall, Levitate, Gust of Wind, and then you get the Star Glider as well at 3rd level. You've prototyped a one-person vehicle that can travel short distances through wild space and the astral sea. You determine the appearance and details of your Star Glider. It's a medium vehicle capable of carrying one medium or small creature and everything it is wearing or carrying. The Star Glider has a flying speed of 40 feet and can move normally through environments with no gravity, such as wild space. It can only be piloted by you or a creature friendly to you. It is surrounded by an air envelope that can sustain a pilot. And then it gives you the AC and all the information on it. And then at 5th level, you're an expert at repairing vehicles. And then you also, as a bonus action, while you aren't piloting your Star Glider, you can command it to move up to its speed in any direction so long as it doesn't move more than 120 feet from you. And then at 9th level, you've developed a special charm to make your Star Glider more portable. As an action, you can touch your Star Glider and cause it to become a tiny trinket that fits into the palm of your hand. That's really cool. And then at 13th level, you've streamlined your glider, allowing it to thrive in the heat of battle. So it gets more AC, has resistance to non-magical damage, and its speed increases. So fun. You get to fly through wild space with your Artificer. And that's just one. You've also got the path of the concussive for the barbarian, and then the College of Stars for the bard, which would be really fun and thematic as well for Spelljammer. So check it out. It's under Heroes of Wildspace in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Miss Manuscripts from Tristan Locke, Vanderboel, Amber, Leslie, Jason McCall, and it's suggested price of $1.50 for 50 pages. It says, the Mists of Ravenloft capture the most devious and nefarious minds in the multiverse and seal them away in prisons of their own making. These velvet cages appear to hold their heart's desire, but are truly the reflection of their own corrupted spirits. The Dark Lords only find torment in these realms, and those unlucky visitors work tirelessly to avoid their wrath and, perhaps more frightening, their boredom. 6 new realms have been discovered, and contained within these pages are the unimaginable horrors that dwell within. Explore a world of nightmares that drains the very color out of reality, a diminutive landscape ruled by insects and stalked by a serial killer, an ever-expanding estate, the never-ending blood battles of a desert hamlet, and more. And it says all proceeds from now through October 31st will be donated to Jasper's Game Day, where every roll is a 20 and no one is left behind, the number 1 there. So that's cool. And looking at it, you've got the intro, and then you see all of the different domains of dread. So you've got Arteski, and then you've got Raytheon, Junesians or Juzinans, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that, Glory Falls, the Beldam Estate, Bargazian, so lots of stuff. And of course they're going to go into who the Dark Lord is for each one, and then adventures in that location and information about it. So we're in Arteski here. It's the domain of the Silent Dream, and the Dark Lord is known as the Great Dreamer, and it's cosmic horror, and it gives you more information on it. And it says what if your character's from there, and the noteworthy features. So it's a lot of the similar information that you would get in, Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, where it breaks down each of the sections. So it talks about the Great Dreamer here, and then some of the locations. So one of the locations is the Dreamer's Cradle. In the center of Ardtesky lies the Dreamer's Cradle, the only significant settlement in Ardtesky. Humanoid blotters wander the streets, performing a reflection of daily life on the material plane. Streets start and stop without reason as walls rise and doorways open into chaotic rooms and hallways. Those who live in the cradle must be prepared to wake up in a different section of the city or trapped in a room without an exit. So that's no good. You don't want to wake up trapped in a room. And then you've got the Mother's Song. The Mother's Song is the largest of the encampments, made up of those surviving the waste. It is a haven for those seeking to keep the Great Dreamer deep in its slumber. The camp is located outside of the Dreamer's Cradle and is made up of discarded black steel and slabs of stone. Together, the survivors fight to keep the Great Dreamer sleeping and themselves alive. So the Great Dreamer must have complete control over this domain, as usual for a Dark Lord. So it sounds like this particular Dark Lord is asleep. It says the Great Dreamer is a violent sleeper, and every creature in the domain can feel its effects. This often results in strange structures suddenly twisting out of the ground, or malformed beasts and blotters crawling throughout the wastes. At times, though, the Great Dreamer can shape its dreams to assist those it favors in their efforts, often with dire results. So I really like this setup, because what it is you're basically in someone else's dream. And so you're at the mercy of what's happening. Are they having a nightmare? Are they having a favorable moment in their dreams? And so the landscape is shifting. Really cool idea for a Domain of Dread. I'm surprised Wizards didn't think of that. I think that's a really fun, especially for a horror movie, because you have movies like Nightmare on Elm Street, etc., that deal with sleep and dreams, and other movies like that. And I always find it a really fun environment, because the normal rules don't apply. I mean, you're already in the Shadowfell when you're in Ravenloft, right? But which makes it beyond the material planes rules, but then you add to it that it's also a dream or a nightmare, and then you get even more weird things happening that might be completely inexplicable. So I love it. I think it could be a lot of fun, and that's just one. And with this $1.50 suggested price, you can get a lot of these realms, 6 of them, for a really low price. So check it out. It's under Miss Manuscripts in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Spectre Knight, a fighter subclass. It says borrow the martial prowess of warriors long dead. It's from Pyrelight Press. It's $4.99 for 7 pages. It says, want an intelligent familiar but don't feel like selling your soul to an archdevil? Want to be frightening but don't want to give up extra attacks to swear an oath of conquest? Do you want to fly around the battlefield, phasing through foes and terrain alike? Then team up with the shade of a fallen warrior who acts as your companion and mentor to conjure ghostly weapons. Strike fear into the hearts of your foes and learn the lessons taught only by experience with this new horror-themed subclass for the fighter. So you get the subclass as well as detailed advice for you and your dungeon master on creating and playing a Spectre Knight to make sure the table's expectations stay consistent. So really, really cool. I think this sounds like a really fun subclass. So it says, some warriors are just too stubborn to die properly. The martial tradition known as Spectre Knight harnesses the skill and wisdom of those whose spirits have yet to move on or are called back by magic to serve once again. The shade of a fallen warrior is bound to the body of a host through ritual magic or arcane accident and empowers the host body with the strength it had in life, as well as dark powers from beyond the grave. Spectre Knights walk the line between living and dead, precariously balancing their own personality with the desires of their shade companion in a state called possession. The host body acts as the anchor by which the shade remains in the material world to finish its business. In return, the shade assists the host in its own goals. While the shade has some freedom in how it moves around, it ultimately is limited to the areas its host occupies, and as such, most shades try to maintain a good working relationship with the host. And then it talks about how you can customize it, which of course, each one of these shades are going to have a totally different personality. There might be some possession side effects as described here, and the shade may have some unfinished business. So there's a little table here that gives some sort of lore for that shade. So the first one on the table is a long dead ancestor called back to oversee your development as a warrior. So in this case, your shade is an ancestor of yours that has been brought back to sort of ride along with you and make sure you do a good job. So it gives you an example of a shade and just a lot more detail, which I really love. I mean, you don't usually get this much devotion to a subclass. So this is really getting into every little detail, which I love. And then it even talks about the features here on page 6 is when we get to the features. So that means all that stuff before is really just helping you understand how this is different, setting you up with the lore and the options. I think this is a really personal subclass, which I like. You can really make your shade almost like another character in the game. And you don't often see that. It reminds me of lineages and how personal lineages are in terms of the development of the character. So, you can customize a lot of subclasses and, make them personal, but this one seems super, super amenable to that. So spectral weapon at 3rd level, you learn to manifest the power of your shade companion as a lethal weapon. As a bonus action, you can evoke its power to materialize a weapon you are proficient with. The weapon appears translucent and emits bright light in a 5-foot radius and dim light for another 5. It lacks the heavy property if it normally has it, and it gains the finesse property. Additionally, it counts as magical, and if the weapon requires ammunition, it is produced by this feature and disappears after use. You can manifest a maximum of 2 such weapons at a time, one for yourself and one to be used by your poltergeist. When a creature other than you or your poltergeist attempts to touch the weapon, it phases out of a creature's grasp. While holding this weapon, you have advantage on intimidation checks, and the first time you damage a creature with a weapon on a turn, it must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be frightened. It gains bonuses as you level up. And then at the 3rd level, you also learn to give your shade companion the ability to interact with the world and aid you in battle. You learn Unseen Servant and can cast it at will. And all sorts of other stuff just to get your poltergeist into action. And it talks about some clarification here. And then at 7th level, you can channel your shade companion's power to walk between life and death. You can become intangible and gain a flying speed of 60 feet until the end of your turn. While intangible, your movement does not provoke attacks of opportunity. And at any point, you may end the intangibility. So pretty cool, and that's just the 3rd through the 7th level. There's 10th level, 11th or 15th level, and 18th level as well. And we're not going to read them all because we want you to come check this out, read it for yourself, get to know it. And I love this anime style art on the cover, really beautiful artwork as well. So I love the depiction of the spectral weapon here on the front of it. So it looks like it could be just super fun. Even if you want to buy this as a DM and make an NPC that's like this, to try it out. And then if it works for you, you can transition it to something that your table can use for players too. So check it out. It's under Spectre Knight in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Spells of the Deep Wood, Tomes of 𝘽𝙤𝙤 2, which is 61 new spells unleashing the power of nature. So lots and lots of spells in this. This is a series from Daniel Johnson. It's $3.95 for 18 pages. And it's a series from Daniel Johnson trying to really enhance the number of spells that are out there thematically. We looked at a previous one that was focused on elemental, and this is more nature themed. And that's great because so often you want to theme a character or a spellcasting character around something, and then you go, oh, there just aren't that many good spells that tie into that. So having lots of spells that are more thematic is awesome. So there's 7 cantrips, 9 1st level, all the way up to 3 9th level, and then of course 2 monster stat blocks, the Corpse Plume and the Gallows Tree as well. So we'll read just one of the spells here. Slug Skin, 2nd level transmutation. It's range of self, target self. And it says you are covered by a viscous membrane of mucus excreted from your skin. When you first cast the spell, choose either Slick or Stick. You gain the following benefits based on your choice. So Slick, you have advantage on ability checks or saving throws to escape grapples and restraints, and you have disadvantage on ability checks and saving throws to make and maintain grapples. And then with Stick, You have advantage on ability checks and saving throws to make and maintain grapples, and you have disadvantage on ability checks or saving throws to escape them. So depending on what you're up to, you would pick Slick or Stick, and until the spell ends, you can switch the effect to the other option as a bonus action, and it's for druids, rangers, and sorcerers. So really cool. And yeah, that's just one. There's also Exposing Hex, Fey Lights, Weakening Hex, Noxious Fungus, Fungal Overgrowth, Reclaim, Handful of Leeches. I mean, really fun sounding spells, so you should check it out. It's under Spells of the Deepwood in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Strixhaven Fantasy Couture from Magical Galas, which is a collection of magical fashions for Strixhaven. So it says you get new magic items, add some magic and wonder to the character's fashion with 10 new outfits and accessories, each inspired by the colleges of Strixhaven. You get fashion templates. Black and white templates of each item are included for you to individualize your character's look. You get new extracurricular and students, so join the fantastical fashion niches of Strixhaven and befriend Machiavel Roberius. And then you get the Snarl Moth's Loom. Recover materials to craft magical fashions within the lair of a brand new creature, the Snarl Moth, in this short adventure for 6-level characters. So you can see some of the templates that have been sort of colorized and how they look, which is fun. Yeah, I mean, I think people really get into their characters and customizing them. So having little fashion plates like this would be really cool to experiment with. It's $2.95 for the 16 pages. Let's look inside. So gives you, the new sort of faction and this NPC student, and then the new Snarlmoth and its location, and then you get magic items and then the fashion templates at the end. So here's the new student, and then the Snarlmoth Loom, and then all the information about its sort of lair with quite a few rooms, which is cool. And then it talks about creating an outfit and a fashion auction. And the Snarlmoth is a CR5, by the way. And then you get into the magic items, the gala outfits. The outfits presented here are couture pieces and are therefore crafted to best fit the measurements of their intended user. This can take effect in one of two ways. Either the items can only be used by a character who had the item specifically created for them, or the magic woven into the design reshapes the fabric of the item to fit the person who attunes to it. Each outfit consists of an armor piece and an accessory. As fashion outfits, the main piece of each set is clothing and must be worn in place of any other armor in order to use their magical effects. If both pieces of an outfit are worn and attuned to at the same time, the character using them gains use of an additional ability as a set bonus. So that's cool. So you've got, you can see some sketches down here. Yeah, really fun artwork in here in this book as well. So Lorehold armor, the Toga of Antiquity. It's uncommon. It says it's patterned cloth that drapes over one shoulder and droops down to about knee length. Once per day, you may activate the magic of the toga, causing the fabric to tighten and harden into a stone-like texture for 1 hour. While this effect is active, your strength and constitution score is temporarily increased by 1, and the toga cannot be removed. And then you've also got the stone cycle earrings. While wearing the matching set of earrings, you may use an action to rotate both stones, activating their magic to grant you advantage on your next history check. So that fits. I mean, Lorehold's all about history. So you can see, like, there's a whole set of things for Lorehold. And then you've got Prismari armor, draping palette dress, and the feather brush armlet. Because Prismari's more about art, I believe. So lots of fun stuff here for Strixhaven. You could even use it outside of that if you want to have just sort of a fashion-themed campaign or adventure, one-shot, whatever. You have somebody who likes fashion or drawing. This could be a really fun opportunity for them to create their own little fashion. So I like it a lot. And it is under Strixhaven Fantasy Couture in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Unimaginable Monsters from Eventier Games, $9.95 for 55 pages. It's already a bestseller seller in its first week. and it's 50 brand new monsters for 5th edition, and they're all illustrated by artificial intelligence. So you're seeing a lot of artificial intelligence artwork now. There's a lot of great software out there for people to create art, people that aren't necessarily artists, and it's an emerging thing. And so they decided to use this to create a whole book of monsters. And it says each monster is accompanied by a short description and a citing stat block and an original illustration generated by artificial intelligence. And the AI art is where the idea came from. There's 50 creatures in the book have been reverse engineered. When the AI produced a particularly inspiring piece of art, they sat down to figure out what monster it was and what it could do. So it's like, reverse of typical. Typically, writers will write the monster and then somebody illustrates it. So they went about it that way. And it says this product would not be possible without AI-generated art. Ordinarily, we would have to rely on stock art, which is neither original nor inspiring, or we'd have to forgo art entirely, as commissioning 50 pieces of art for such a product, as it is not feasible. And as a creator, I can speak to that too. It is quite expensive. I think the most expensive part of all of our books is the artwork. You could produce books with just stock, but then everybody uses the same stock and it gets repetitive. So to meet the quality that people want, they have to spend a lot of money. And for DM's Guild, it's just not financially viable to do tons and tons of original art all the time. Sometimes it is. We've done it, but it just isn't always viable. So what they're saying here is that they're using the artwork, but then they're also going to take 50% of their proceeds and put it towards commissioning human artists, which is great. That's a nice way to sort of balance the controversies over AI art taking the place of artists. I think there's room for both things, real artists and AI artists. And in fact, I think human artists are going to benefit from the AI art because they can use it to prototype or inspire them. And smaller publishers like those that publish on DM's Guild or elsewhere can supplement their art. They can still work with human artists, but maybe have just a little bit more art because they're using some AI art as well. So really excited to see this done and that people are responding to it. And it looks beautiful. I mean, these creatures look really imaginative, and it's a really fun idea to take the art and then reverse engineer the creature from it. So really, really cool concept. So now let's look inside. You get to see 3 of the pages, and so you can see just from this creature overview that Aventure Games has really given you a spread of CRs. So I'm seeing like 1/2s, I'm seeing 23s, 19s, 17, 6s, 4s, all over the place, which is great. That is really great because as creators, of homebrew or as DMs, you're going to want a variety of things to throw at your players, and you can't always use a 7. Sometimes you need a 16 or vice versa, right? And so having this mixture is really awesome. So I'm glad that they were able to create a spread as well as part of their efforts to pull these monsters together. So you've got Abathiel here, wonderful artwork, a little quote about it, and then the CR stat block. So it's a 16, and then you get the Atharomozoa and Hermosa, and this is a CR 23. So you get to look at some really powerful ones in the preview. So the Abathiel are also known as angels of death. They are responsible for shepherding souls to the afterlife and guarding them while they're there. In rare cases, Abathiels are sent to retrieve souls from creatures who are still alive even though they should be dead. In battle, the Abathiel manipulates the very souls of its foes as it steers them gently but firmly closer to death. Its methods are elusive and entropic as it weakens its enemies and their very spirits. So it's a really cool concept as well, because if it's going to come for souls that are supposed to be dead. So if you resurrect a character or bring them back to life, or they narrowly escape death in some way, then an Abathiel could try to show up and rectify that, right? So that could be really fun. And it's a celestial. It's got all kinds of actions here, like the shepherding light. Each creature of the abathiel's choice it can see must make a con saving throw, and then on a failed save it takes radiant damage. And then you've got Afterlight, forces a creature it can see to make a wisdom saving throw, and on a failed save it takes psychic damage and is stunned. And you got Anoint, it attempts to prepare the soul of a creature it can see, and then they have to make a charisma saving throw, and on a failed save they take psychic damage, and has vulnerability. So that could be really, really dangerous to have that vulnerability after that. And Corrupted Renewal, I mean, just really fun ability names as well that seem to tie into the creatures. So the Aturomoza, I don't know, I can't say it, one of the few primordials in existence. This creature is a semi-divine of incredible size and power, also known as the Creator. It can not only move through solid earth and rock, but also manipulate it, causing it to shake, fissure, or even spawn stone oozes. While its plans and motives are indiscernible to mortals, it is clear to most that disturbing the slumbering primordial is a bad idea. So you can see this kind of creepy primordial, and then you get, of course, all the information about it. So really fun. I love this. I think, you know, you can always use more monsters, and $9.95 to get 50 of them. That's a pretty good price, and you're going to get to enjoy the fun little AI artwork with it. So check it out. It's under Unimaginable Monsters in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Unshackled by Spilled Ale Studios, $2.50 for 13 pages, and it's in a new Warlock subclass for Spelljammer. And so you have this thing called the Unshackled Self, which is a Warlock patron. And it says, unshackled self warlocks create a mirror of themselves in a hidden demiplane out amidst the astral sea. Then they use their connection to their astral self to temporarily change reality. Their spell list expands to reflect their ability to make their ideas real. They also choose a motif, a fundamental truth of their soul, defining the sort of person they are. The 5 motifs are artisan, companion, performer, scholar, and warrior. The warlock can manifest a powerful icon of their chosen motif, and each motif grants several unique features, some of which are passive and some of which require the use of the warlock's icon. The powers of the warlock's motif are further refined as their class level increases. And then you get 4 new warlock invocations, eldritch invocations, and then you get an epic boon. The astral rebirth epic boon grants your astral self the ability to live on after your death, causing you to resurrect after 24 hours if the astral self still lives. That's a really cool boon. So looking inside, you have all that good stuff we talked about in the table of contents, and really fun artwork and layout as well. So it talks about the patron, and it says astral figments for first and level, second level. So you are able to produce magics that create and transform through pure thought and force of will. You treat all spells of the abjuration, evocation, conjuration, illusion, and transmutation schools as warlock spells, regardless of which class spell list they appear on. From second level in this class, you can spend 2 warlock spell slots at once to cast a spell of the aforementioned schools that isn't one of your spells known, provided the spell's level is equal to or lower than the level of your warlock spell slots. Astral Self, a duplicate of you, lives in its own demiplane called its domain, which exists in a bubble of reality floating within the astral sea. Your astral self is treated as your spellcasting focus. In addition, the closer to the astral sea and your astral self you get, the stronger your powers become. You gain the use of astral authority dice, which power some of your features. So this tells you how many dice you get, and then the game statistics, it goes through all of that, and environment, and the astral domain. So this is really cool and in depth in terms of like the different things that are going to be happening, how you enter and exit, and all that stuff. So they've really fleshed that out. Death of the astral self. And then the motif. So choose a motif, a fundamental truth of your soul. You are able to manifest a powerful icon, an object associated with your motif and forged using sheer thought. So the first one would be artisan motif. So you can, if you belong to that, you can manifest this one. So you can, the icon is known as the astral apparatus, which resembles a spectral tool of your choice. It occupies any space within 5 feet of you, but it has no physical presence. And then you gain the following benefits. So you get choose any 3 tools from the following, and you become proficient. So you can disguise, forgery, herbalism, poisoner, or artisan's tools. Basically, you can become proficient. You can learn the exact monetary value of a non-magical object created chiefly using the tools in which you are proficient. Whenever you cast a first level or higher conjuration or transmutation spell that creates a visible effect with a longer than instantaneous duration while your astral accompaniment is manifested, your astral apparatus draws power from your pride in your show of craftsmanship and returns it to you as inspiration. The first time you make an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw within the next minute, you can roll all of your available astral authority dice and add the highest result to the roll. If your astral apparatus unmanifests before you use this benefit, it is lost. And then lastly, spell shaping. When you cast a spell that forces other creatures to make a saving throw while your astral apparatus is manifested, you can protect some of those creatures from the spell's full force. Choose a number of those creatures up to your charisma modifier. So, and then the rest of it's on the next page, so we can't read all of it, but pretty cool, different stuff. And that's just one aspect. There's other aspects, that you can be connected to, and we didn't even get into, or other motifs, I should say, not aspects. And there's invocations, and then there's that epic boon. So just so much in here, and really nice artwork. And I love the layout of this book. So check it out. It's under Unshackled in the links below. Give it a click. Well, that was our last new release, but I want to give a sneak peek to our discount for next week. So at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time at Splinterverse, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you can get access to our exclusive discount for the Valley of Swords, which is normally $2 for this adventure, and it's going to be quite a bit off of this one. It's going to be one of the biggest discounts we've had in terms of price. So you want to make sure you check your social media feeds and that you're following us. Take a break on Monday at work and see what we've got, because these discounts only last about a week and then they're gone. So you want to take advantage of it, get that exclusive discount that's not going to be anywhere else, just at Splinterverse. So and then of course we'll take a deep dive into this book next week, but it's a fun little adventure involving this sort of king that's gotten out of control, and you have to do something about it. So I want you to find out all about it next week as we return to the Valley of Swords. Well, thank you so much for watching. Please like the video for the algorithm, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, share the video out there with your friends, and click those links to support all these awesome creators this week. And if you make any purchase after clicking those links, you're going to help support the channel as well. And consider all of our wonderful books. We got 6 of them down there. We're working on our Dragonlance book, which is coming for you later this year, so stay tuned. It's going to be massive. So much Dragonlance and Krynn goodness in that title, so I really can't wait to show you more of that book very soon. And thank you so much for watching. If you are a creator, just keep plugging away. All those things that want to distract you are going to still be there when you finish your book. So just get your book done, then you can go do all these other things that are sort of nagging at you to pull you away from your work. You'll be glad you did. You'll be so happy and proud of your stuff, and other people will enjoy it, and it'll be a good legacy for you. So keep on trucking, get it done. And to all of you, thank you so much for watching and being part of the Splinterverse. And until next time, happy adventuring.